All right, so today we're diving into something kind of wild. We're talking about Fox News and how they handled a recent interview with Kamala Harris.
Yeah, this one is really interesting. It's a pretty clear example of how media practices like editing can really influence how we see political events.
Absolutely. So basically, Fox News aired this clip of Donald Trump during their interview with Kamala Harris, and they asked for her reaction. Seems pretty standard, right? Like a normal interview tactic.
Right, yeah, seems normal enough. Except it turns out the clip they showed of Trump, well, it was edited, and
Yeah.
not in a small way.
Yeah, this wasn't just like trimming down a long speech. They cut out a pretty significant part of what Trump said.
Exactly. The original clip was from a town hall event Trump did in Georgia, an all-women town hall, actually. And in the full clip, he refers to his political opponents as the enemy within, which is a pretty loaded statement.
Definitely not something you just throw around lightly.
Yeah, right. And that's the part that Fox News decided to completely edit out. They just skip right over it and focus on a different, much milder part of his speech.
It's almost unbelievable, right? Like, did they think people wouldn't notice, especially since MSNBC, and I'm sure plenty of other networks, have the full unedited clip?
Exactly. So it's not like this was some hidden footage. It was out there. And that's actually where things get even more interesting. Because Chris Hayes, over at MSNBC, called Fox News out on this.
Yeah, he did not let that slide.
Nope. He went on air and basically accused Fox News of trying to clean up Trump's image by using this edited clip. He even pointed out, kind of sarcastically, that it's weird for Fox to use an edited version when everyone else has the original.
It does make you question the thought process there, right?
Yeah.
Like, if they were just trying to show a clip of Trump talking, why not use the whole thing?
Exactly. And it looks even worse when you consider the context of what Trump was talking about.
You mean the whole enemy within comment?
Yeah. So this town hall where Trump made that comment, he also said some other stuff. Like he made this really bizarre claim about being the father of IVF.
Wait, really? I missed that one.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. Got a lot of criticism, a lot of people making fun of it. And Fox News, they left that part out too.
Wow. So they edited out the controversial part and the awkward part.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely seems like a deliberate choice, don't you think?
It's hard to say for sure, but it's definitely suspicious. And it's not even just what they left in, but what they left out.
What else did they miss?
Well, Hayes also criticized Fox News for not mentioning who the audience was at this town hall event. They didn't clarify that it was a room full of Trump supporters.
Which is important context. I mean, it changes how you might interpret his words.
Right. If you just hear those sound bites without knowing the audience, you might think he's talking to a neutral crowd. But knowing it's his supporters, it definitely adds a different layer.
So it seems like Fox News cherry-picked what they wanted viewers to hear and see. And according to Hayes, this might not be a one-off thing. He called it a playbook, like a pattern of behavior.
Exactly. And it kind of lines up with other concerns about bias that have been raised about Fox News.
Like what?
Well, there were those reports, about how some of the top people at Fox, like Brett Baier and Tucker Carlson, were really worried about losing viewers after they accurately called Arizona for Biden in the 2020 election.
Yeah, that was huge.
Right, huge
thought
moment in the election. And Trump and a lot of his supporters were really disputing the results in Arizona. And according to those reports, some at Fox News were concerned about how viewers would react to that kind of accurate but potentially unfavorable reporting.
Wow. So if there was that level of concern over reporting accurately on the election, it makes you wonder about their editorial decisions on other things.
Yeah.
Especially anything to do with Trump.
It definitely adds another layer to this whole edited clip situation. And, it's not just about Fox News or even just about this one edited clip. This whole thing kind of highlights a much bigger issue.
Which is?
Media bias and how it can influence what we see and hear. We live in a world that's overflowing with information. It's everywhere. And it can be really hard to know what to trust, what's real, what's been spun a certain way.
Totally. It's overwhelming sometimes.
It really is. And that's why this whole conversation is so important. We have to think critically about the media we consume. We have to ask questions, be a little skeptical, and try to get our news from different sources.
Basically, be smart about what we read and watch.
Exactly. It's easy to just passively take in information, but we need to be active participants, questioning what we see and hear. And you know what Hayes said at the end of his segment after all this?
What's that?
He said, and I'm paraphrasing here, that maybe Trump should just do his next interview on MSNBC, given how Fox News seems to be handling things.
That's a pretty good line.
It is, and it really drives home the point. We can't just blindly trust any news source, regardless of their political leanings. It's on us to be informed, be critical, and be our own fact checkers in a way.
Couldn't agree more. All right, well, that's our deep dive for today.